Hello everyone, my name is Sarah and today we're going to talk about how venom from honeybees can maybe cure cancer cells. I mean, that sounds really exciting to me, so let's just get started. Let's not mince words. In cultures around the world, honeybees represent abundance, personal power, and even immortality. This was previously thought to be a mere byproduct of the bees' proximity to agriculture due to their role in pollination, but the ancient association of honeybees with resurrection may have some substance. Very, very interesting. So in cultures like France and Egypt and lots of different cultures around the world, honeybees represent abundance. So abundance is when you have a lot of something, more than you need, potentially. So someone can have an abundance of food, someone can have an abundance of, books, maybe if you're like me, or you can even have an abundance of friends and family. These are all different ways that you can have an abundance of something. And bees can also potentially represent immortality. So immortality, let's break this word up into two parts. So the second part, right here, mortality. Actually, technically, we can just look at this right here, M-O-R-T. That's mort, and that means death. It's from Latin. So mortality, it means the possibility of death, right? But then here, when we put this little prefix right here, I-M, that means not, right? So immortality means that you can live forever and you won't die. So in some cultures, honeybees represent immortality, so living a very long time or even forever. And so in the past, people thought, okay, maybe people think that honeybees represent abundance and immortality because they're proximate or close to agriculture. So because bees, they have a big role in agriculture. They pollinate flowers in order to make honey. So they're essential for keeping our agricultural system going, right? So because bees are typically nearby to places where humans would get food in the past, it kind of makes sense that, okay, honeybees, abundance, immortality, because it represents kind of life and flourishing and a harvest, right? So people thought, maybe this is the only reason that honeybees had this association. But recent research shows that the association of honeybees with resurrection or coming back to life, may have some substance. So it might actually be kind of true. This is a little bit interesting, right? So what could it be? Let's think about the headline of this article, right? A study performed at the University of Western Australia found that honeybee venom could destroy aggressive breast cancer cells in a lab setting. A discovery that could reinvigorate breast cancer research and save millions of lives. So there was a study that was performed. So perform, it can mean literally like to perform a song or a dance. That's not what we're talking about here. A study being performed, that means a study was carried out or 진행됐다. So yeah, don't confuse this with the other type of perform. So the study performed or conducted at the University of Western Australia, it found that honeybee venom, or the poison that all honeybees have inside, so when they stick you, when they sting you on your arm or whatever, they put just like a little tiny bit of poison in you, not enough to kill you unless you're allergic. But yeah, it's just a little bit of poison, just a little bit. So this poison can destroy aggressive breast cancer cells in a lab setting. So aggressive, that means a person can be aggressive if they always want to fight. So people can be aggressive, but also cancer cells can be aggressive. So when a cancer cell is aggressive, that means that it is rapidly it's rapidly spreading the cancer around your body, which obviously you don't want if you're a cancer patient. So usually there's really not a whole lot that we can do once cancer is already in somebody's body. There's radiation therapy and there's chemotherapy, but it's very expensive, it's very time consuming, and it actually can hurt the patient's health even more than the cancer itself in a lot of cases. So not a lot of really good options. But recently this study found that honeybee venom can destroy aggressive breast cancer cells. So this could potentially be a new way to treat breast cancer without hurting people. So that's really exciting, right? So this discovery could reinvigorate breast cancer research. So to reinvigorate, that means to make something lively again, to bring back to life, to bring innovation into something. So you can reinvigorate an industry or even a club at your school. Maybe there's a drama club, but they haven't really done anything for a couple of years, and then you get a really good teacher or a really dedicated student, and they go in and they try to reinvigorate it, bring it back to life, and it changes for the better. So due to this new research about the honeybee venom destroying the cancer cells, this could reinvigorate the entire field of breast cancer research. So that's a really, really good thing, because once we have better research and better treatments, we can save millions of lives. Because breast cancer, it's the most common type of cancer for women. So unfortunately, it kills a lot of people every year. So we really, really want to find a cure so that we can help people. The study, conducted by a 25-year-old PhD researcher, Sierra Duffy, was published in Nature, one of the world's top scientific publications. So actually, the thing that stood out most to me when I was reading this article is that a 25-year-old, so not much older than me, just 2 years older than I am right now, she has a PhD already, which is crazy, and she published her research in Nature. And that's like the most famous scientific journal that there is. It's a really, really big deal if you can get published in that journal. So imagine if you're, for instance, a journalist. It would be a really, really amazing opportunity to have your article published in, say, the New York Times, right? Because it's one of the most famous newspapers that everybody knows. So in the world of science, the journal Nature it's probably one of the most, if not the most famous scientific publication that there is. I am a social science major. I study political science, and even I know about Nature, which tells you just how famous it is. So yeah, it's very, very impressive that this 25-year-old PhD researcher was able to conduct such a study that is bound to potentially reinvigorate the breast cancer research field. So good for you, Sierra. You're great. In the paper, Dr. Duffy noted that honeybee venom, particularly melatonin, a compound that can be found in the venom, was effective at disrupting cancer cell growth. So in the paper, this 25-year-old PhD, Dr. Duffy, she noted, or she remarked, she wrote, that the honeybee venom, and especially a compound or a chemical that's inside of the venom called melatonin, was effective at disrupting cancer cell growth. So what it doesn't magically just make the cancer go away, but it does disrupt or stop or block the growth of cancer cells. So that's how cancer spreads, right? One cell, it kind of develops in the wrong way, and then it spreads all over your body, right? And it's really, really bad. So the venom, and especially this compound called melatonin, it was effective, or it worked at disrupting or stopping cancer cell growth. So it stops the cancer from growing in its tracks, which, I mean, that's really, really amazing. So I'm very interested to see where this research goes in the future. A single concentration of the venom can kill cancer cells within an hour. while leaving healthy cells unharmed. So this is really, really important because, as I said earlier, there are actually multiple treatments available for cancer, such as chemotherapy and radiation therapy. But radiation therapy and chemotherapy, they're actually very, very hard on the body. They make you really weak. They make your immune system very weak. They make people's hair fall out, their skin, it gets very dry, and they get extremely thin because they cannot digest their food properly. So actually some people end up, so sometimes these treatments can be almost as debilitating or serious as the disease itself, and it's very painful and it's just not a good situation. So if we can avoid causing harm while treating the cancer, that's a really, really good thing. So the reason why radiation therapy and chemotherapy have such a kind of a strong and potentially negative effect on the body is because they're really good at killing cancer cells, but they're also really good at killing healthy cells as well. And you don't want to kill healthy cells because, of course, those ones are needed to keep your body healthy and functioning. So it's kind of a dilemma or a problem in the field of cancer research. How do we kill the cancer cells without harming the healthy cells so that the person has a higher chance of getting better? So this bee venom or melatonin concentration could potentially have really, really amazing results. So within just 1 hour, it can kill the cancer cells with just a single concentration of the venom. It's very impressive. This makes it a potentially less invasive treatment than chemotherapy and radiation, often used but harsh treatments that sometimes worsen patients' health outcomes. So just as I just said, chemotherapy and radiation. I'm going to look up the Korean words for you because these are pretty challenging words. So chemotherapy is 화학요법. Okay? 화학요법 or 화학치료제. And then radiation, 방사선 치료. And then radiation therapy is 방사선 치료. So maybe if any of you have family members or friends who have been treated for cancer, you know how difficult these treatments can be on the body over time. So the goal of this bee venom cancer treatment would be to treat the cancer in a non-invasive way, or a way that it disrupts the growth of healthy cells outside of the cancerous mass. And so, like I said, we have these treatments, chemotherapy and radiation, but they're really harsh, and sometimes they can even worsen patients' health outcomes because both of these treatments, to my knowledge, they reduce the capacity of the immune system, or the 면역력. So if you have cancer and you're getting treatment for the cancer, and then if you catch a disease, it's a lot harder for your body to fight the disease because your immune system is much weaker. So yeah, it's a very, very difficult situation, but hopefully this bee venom could potentially be a solution. Additionally, although the compound occurs naturally, it also has the potential to be synthetically produced. So this word here, synthetic, so it means like artificial, or you can create it in a factory or a lab. So there are natural fabrics such as cotton or linen. They usually feel really good on the skin. But there's also synthetic fabrics made from chemicals, right? So same thing with these potential cancer treatments. So the compound melatonin, or the bee venom, it occurs naturally, or it exists in nature. We didn't have to make it. It's already out there existing. But it also has the potential or the possibility to be synthetically produced. So we don't have to, harvest a bunch of honeybees to do this treatment potentially. We can also synthetically produce it in a lab or in a factory so that we can help the cancer patients without hurting any bees or causing disruption to the agricultural industry, because we really need more bees around. Many chemical compounds have been found to destroy cancer cells in a lab setting, but since they cannot be produced and distributed widely, their potential for use in routine treatment procedures is limited. So, as I just said, melatonin, or the bee venom, it's unique because it can be produced synthetically, right? So if we find the cure to cancer, but if we find like a magical chemical in nature that it cures cancer and it cures every disease, but it's only as big as this battery, I mean, maybe we can help 1 or 2 people, but we can't help that many people with just this one little thing. So the goal when we're doing this kind of treatment research, we want to find something that we can use to help everybody, not just a few people. And so, because the bee venom can be synthetically produced, fingers crossed, it could potentially help a lot of people all at once. While the researchers that worked on the study emphasized that more research must be done to confirm melatonin's effectiveness in animal and human patients, they also expressed excitement that the discovery could potentially sweeten the future of non-invasive cancer treatment. So we still need more research, we need more testing, we need more development after we made this discovery that the honeybee venom could kill cancer cells. So far we know that it works in a lab, but real life, of course, is very different from a laboratory setting. So first, the researchers emphasized or stressed that more research must be done, and we need to do this in order to confirm the effectiveness of the treatment, and we would do that with trials in animal and human patients. So we still need to do a little bit more work before we can say, oh, this 100% cures cancer, it always works. But they also expressed excitement because the discovery could potentially sweeten the future of non-invasive cancer treatment. So it could potentially make things a lot easier or a lot better in the future for cancer patients and also for cancer researchers. All right, well, that is all for today's article. There were a couple kind of tricky words in this article, so I hope that I helped you understand them a little bit better. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, make sure to let me know in the comment section below. And don't forget to hit that subscribe and like button. All right, I'll see you guys again next week. And yeah, I hope you had a good class. All right, bye.